HQC is on the left. Yeah, he's blue.
Alright, I just need here. Read me off the lineup for Eclipse. I'll just add all their players in correctly.
Well, you already have it.
Who am I
Except
missing?
they're not. Bubbers is on the wrong side.
Bubbers
So
is
move
okay.
Bubbers over to Eclipse, and then yeah.
I'll just.
Yeah, there you go. And now you're perfect. Just put probably put Pyro on because I'm assuming he's starting.
I'm just gonna ask for the starting lineup.
Probably have it right, except put Trash out for Arise maybe. Cool Sam, Courage, J5 is late, Trash. Okay, no, you're right.
I don't know. I just left it how it was.
Yeah, put Cool Sam in for who is in there that shouldn't be? No, yeah, just put Cool Sam and Pyro in, take out Holly. Yeah.
Cool Sam in, Holly out. Who's in? Pyro?
Pyro, yeah, because it's just J-Vice and Pyro on DPS. They're not gonna put Courage on that roll, I don't think. And then just all blues.
Wait, no, someone's in here that isn't supposed to. Oh no, Trash Road.
Yeah, all of them are supposed to be blue.
Oh yeah. I thought those in.
It's okay. Cool. Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, Courage, Cool Sam.
You don't know how many times I fucked up the lobby, dude.
Late Trash. Nice. Got my chalky milk ready to go.
Oh shit, I need a drink. That's a good call.
Got the mini fridge in the room. Down for some healing reach, for sure.
Cav, is my audio good? By the way? Alright.
How about mine? Awesome.
Let's go, dude! Alright. Meteors map pick. Let's get that real quick.
While we're here. Yes.
Halftime after map 3. What else?
Correct.
So, Lijiang, yes, fun map.
They picked Nepal with us, what the heck? Busted.
The fucking, oh my god, I hate watching the Winston Ball on Lijiang Garden. It's actually toxic. I swear.
Well done.
Have we been live? Have we been?
I hope so.
Have we been? No. Have they been hearing us?
Yes.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Overwatch Tranquility. Tonight we have an incredible matchup coming up for you as we have Eclipse taking on Meteors, the underdogs, looking to knock out the number 2 seed. Tonight, casting for you, my name is Dor, and we have Juko High, the Juggernaut, the man himself with us. How you doing, Juko High?
I'm doing pretty well, Dor. How about you?
Dude, I am hanging in there. I am so excited for all of the semifinals matches we've got lined up for you this week. But this one tonight, Meteors versus Eclipse, is going to be one hell of a matchup. Eclipse have been on the hot streak of their lives. Every single member of their roster has looked absolutely impeccable lately. And Meteors, as always, running through teams left and right. Of course, you're on the receiving end of that one. What was that like, and what do we need to expect coming into this game?
Good gameplay. Like nothing else to be said about it. They're a great group of people, a lot of great players, kind of a team of all-stars. And I just don't believe we're going to get a bad game here. I don't know if it's going to go 4-0 someone's way or be down to the wire, but either way, both teams have a lot of incredible talent, and I just can't wait to watch it, study it, just have a good time.
Yeah, I haven't really had the pleasure of casting Meteors so far this season. So do you want to go ahead and run me through their roster a little bit here, who I need to be looking out for?
Sure, we'll start with the starting roster of the tank line being Courage, who was a DPS player in all of our minds coming into the season, but has really showed off their prowess on main tank and other flexible tank roles. Really outperforming what we expected. Super fun player to watch. Alongside them is Cool Sam. Everybody knows Cool Sam. Great player. Great flexible tank. Probably one of the most pop off potential on the side of Meteors. And with them comes the really stable DPS line they have of J-Vice and Pyro. It's really the only like solid role on the team, just always J-Vice and Pyro on DPS because Courage is sitting there on tank. Both players just outperforming our expectations, or maybe at your expectations. You believe Meteors could get this far and do this well for so long, which I see a lot of people do. So Trash Rodent and Late, pretty good support line. I have to say that like Arise has been the one to really show up for me. But like can't be slept on. I mean, this is Meteors we're talking about. There's no one who can be slept on. It would be unfair to the team. And then on the rest of the bench, we have Holly and HQC, respectively, support and tank. Really good players. Everybody knows HQC. Really good head, great streamer. And then Holly, exceptional player, has been all over the community and just probably ready for another chance to show how great they are today. I bet they're hungry for the win.
Yeah, and looking across the table, Eclipse, with their 6-man roster, no subs needed. These guys come in swinging some heavy hitters here. We've got Bubbers, honestly, for me, one of easily the top 5 supports in Discord for this season. He has been absolutely putting in work here for Eclipse. Cryptic Force, the last Cameron left alive in this tournament. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little bit of bias just because of his name there. But he's been popping off lately. Shoney Red, always going to be showing up, as well as Rocket on the DPS line for Eclipse, are incredible threats on all sorts of heroes. And I think especially Rocket has a lot of things in his back pocket that he can pull out. We've seen him on the Tracer before. We've seen him on a few different things. And Bray, of course, the tank, has looked incredible all season, a real rock for this team. And so as much as they may be missing a little bit of the versatility that the bench roster of Meteors has, I think for a starting 6, there might not be a stronger lineup in Discord. But overall, like looking at it, we do have Meteors. They do get first map pick. They go ahead and pick Li Jiang. Who do you got to give this series to just from the start?
From the start, I'd have to say Eclipse. They've been on a super nice hot streak. They have a very solid 6-man roster, and they just use the same team week in and week out. Scrims are super streamlined. I think the method is what's going to get them this win. But Meteors, of course, like I said, are here to show us what they have. It's not going to be easy, and this first map's going to really set the pace of the rest of the games. So I guess I'll get back to you about my full 100% decision on who I'm pulling for. But as of right now, I've got to give it to Eclipse.
Yeah, and honestly, myself, it's so tough. Eclipse, like, clearly the underdog seed-wise, but the way these last couple weeks have looked, taking out one last ride, Eclipse has so much momentum. You can't help but give it to him. But I can tell you one thing for sure. This is going to be a close series. As we load into the first map here, we do have Li Jiang Tower. First map will be Control Center, so obviously going to be a fair bit of Mei to be played here. Maybe a little bit of Doomfist, but what do you think? Is there anything special we're going to see from either of these teams?
I think J-Vice's May. I think J-Vice has an incredible May, really shut down a lot of the teams that they've played against, and especially in this meta where May is so prominent, I think this is a great map to really set the pace for the rest of Lijiang and potentially the series, and just drive home the point that Meteors are a technically superior team coming in with their higher seeding.
Yeah, one of the things I saw last time I got to see Eclipse on this map was actually Cryptic Force's Sigma here on Control Center was pretty notable. He did a fantastic job keeping the opposing team off of flanks and keeping them honest, as well as using his ult very effectively. And I think Eclipse plays around their ults well in general, but using the Gravitic Flux to such a degree that you don't need other ultimates with it is going to be something that's going to give your team a massive ultimate advantage, and I think that's something to look out for here.
All right, I'm excited as we get into this. This map's looking very interesting.
All right, semifinals map 1 Lijiang, let's go. We're going to be seeing J-Vice on a Doomfist and Pyro on a Reaper. However, Shonirad on the opposite end going to be running that May that we talked about. I think the big key here is going to be that wall.
Excellent pull going into the first engagement. Getting the first pick is Cryptic Force. Excellent pick, by the way. Getting J-Vice out of the way. It's a lot of damage gone. May going into ice early. And members of Meteors falling faster and faster.
All the Doomfist cooldowns going down early, man. Bad news bears here for the Meteors, as it looks like Eclipse looks to take over this point with little to no casualties. J-Vice and Lei just need to back out. But Eclipse are going to have every opportunity in the world to push up and take this door, which is such a difficult choke. And especially with the May, they're going to have a massive advantage here.
Oh, absolutely. And the May just going to have their chance to charge ult. And once that happens, the freeze is almost impossible to beat.
Now, Bubbers does have the Coalescence here. He's going to look to drop it early as he's going to use it. Shonirad taking out Courage early. One tank down. 5 members left here for Meteors. Rocket taking out Cool Sam. No more tanks left alive. And Meteors are just going to be forced to leave as soon as they can. Pyro left inside. He doesn't have a Wraith form. The wall going to be keeping him out all the more. But Eclipse here starting off map 1 strong.
And the ult advantage is real. The snowball potential is really, really high on the side of Eclipse, especially with Shonirad only 17% away from that next ult.
Using the Coalescence to try and punish the early spawn push, but it's not going to be enough. The Maywall looks to go down, but not finding anybody here. As Eclipse just backs up early, they're going to wait and buy their time as much as they can. They re-engage with the Blizzard, picking up 4 members here of Meteors, and 2 kills going down for Rocket, and all 6 going the way of Eclipse. Yet again, 50% taking down on this point. This looks awful for the Meteors.
Meteors coming back here with potentially 5 ultimates to go into Eclipse's 4, so they do have technically an ult advantage, but with the positioning advantage that Eclipse have taken, it would be a very difficult take, but we'll have to see what they can do with this Reaper ult.
I think the biggest key here, again, is going to be Shonirad wall. That Blizzard was capable of ending ultimates, and he takes out Cool Sam early! 1 tank down, no shield left, Courage all but left, but that smaller Sigma shield. Rocket does drop the Death Blossom inside, takes out 1 more player. 4 ultimates still up here for Eclipse and 78% on the point.
Yeah, they're doing very well to use their ultimates effectively, but here come Meteors with 6 ults, probably their last chance to get onto the point, unless they want to drop the first map. But they definitely have the resources to do it.
They need to push early. They need to get the player on this point as well. They only have about 8 seconds left. Sound barrier is coming out from both sides here. The Gravitic Flux used from Meteors, going to be picking up 3 players here. Drop down, 1 kill going the way, 2 kills going the way of Meteors, 3. This might just be what they need to take this point.
Absolutely was, and it looked like a great investment. We kept Pyro on their ult, which was really nice, but still 2 ults on the side of Eclipse, but that May ult, again, is going to be the deciding factor. If they get an excellent Blizzard coming into this first room, that might just be curtain call for our boys over there on Meteors.
And they don't get the early door hold without the May. It's not nearly as potent. I think Eclipse is going to look to engage here with the Coalescence and follow it up with the Blizzard. No, they look for both of them at the same time, but the Death Blossom in the backline is going to be finding 1 member here of Eclipse. 2 kills going either way, but Shonirad taking off Cool Sam is going to be the tank line down, and all the kills ending up going the way of Eclipse. Spells certain disaster, 99% overtime ticking down, but map 1 of Lijiang Tower was not meant to be for the Meteors.
Yeah, that was an absolute slobber knocker on point. The DPS on Meteors trying to keep their team up as long as possible, but the positioning and the ult economy on the side of Eclipse really won them that game here. Excellent pull combo into the May ult on the center of point. When you're on a point like that, where there aren't a lot of walls to take advantage of to get the Blizzard its full effect, having that pulse on the side of Orisa is incredible to just get more and more value to the Blizzard, because, I mean, less players on the field that can actually move their mouse, the better.
Yeah, I honestly think one of the most interesting things for that whole match for me was the fact that they kept J-Vice off of the May. And you had mentioned it before, and honestly, playing May into May is one of the More capable things you can do, especially on Control Center, to really shut another Mei down if she is causing a problem. And Shoni Red was doing a fantastic job shutting down every single member of Meteors. But do you want to go ahead and break down these compositions for us real quick?
I see the pretty much the same comp on the side of Eclipse, probably out of comfort, but Pyro is known for the excellent fire play, and let's see what they can do here in a nice spot.
Pyro getting in on the point, the Halt pulling 6 members of Eclipse into a single spot, but they're going to be taking, oh my god, he gets the barrage already! He got 4-5 members of Eclipse taking this map 2 by storm! Pyro! What on earth?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought Pyro was going to be able to do. A 22-second ult coming out of Pharah is exactly what Meteors are known for. This is what we were coming into this map expecting them to be able to do. Wasn't really potent on map 1, but this is a much more accessible Pharah map, and I think they're going to take advantage of that to its full potential. See what Eclipse do here to try to compensate for that.
The one downside here is that Bubbers does get his Coalescence up early because he got all the early heals, but it doesn't matter. Rocket's going to be engaging on a Cool Sam, and the Coalescence followed up. Both Coalescences dropped on point. Pyro dishing out the damage as much as he can, but there's 6 members of Eclipse storming onto the point here. Spread out. Courage manages to find it, pick on a 9. Volt, Cryptic Force, and Brace slowly pushing their team onto the point here. Rocket taking out J-Vice. That's a lot of the damage gone. Pyro, though, gets the better of Shoni, right, but not before his main heals are picked off. Latte taken out on the Moira. Courage just trying to stay alive as much as he can on the point. Pyro dishing out all the damage he can, but Rocket fragging out on this Reaper. He's got 3 members left to take out here for Meteors. Cool Sam still left on point. The Mercy keeping him alive for so long. Trying looks for the red, and he does manage to get onto Courage. 2 tanks left alive, and the red, and, pardon me, the spawns are coming back in here for Meteors, and they hold on to the point.
Yeah, I think that was really well done on the side of Meteors. They took a bad situation and made a great outcome out of it. I think maybe Eclipse should have switched over to the Sim just to get back faster and really control those respawns a little better. But we'll see what they do to adjust here, coming back in against no ults on the side of Meteors besides the tanks.
Some fantastic stall out of Meteors managed to hold on to this point, but they've got a hell of a push coming their way as 3 ultimates are up here for Eclipse. Players dropping down low, though, for the red team as Rocket looks to get into the back line. The Death Blossom drops as well as the barrage here out of the Meteors, and it's going to pick off 3 members here. The Death Blossom in reverse, only going to be taking out Trash Rodent. The Rocket looks to hold on to this point for as long as he can, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
No, it was really a bummer because Cryptic Force went in there with that ult and immediately got taken out of it. So coming back in with pretty much no ults aside from the Reaper one, it got real desperate. And here we go, just trying to kill the spawns as they come in, but all characters seem to be on point.
Soundberry used to engage here for Eclipse, but the Coalescence is going to be taking out absolutely everybody here from late. Bray trying to stay alive as long as he can, just trying to get to his main heals. The Rocket left 1v6 on the point, taken out by the accretion from Courage. Going to tie this Lijiang up 1-1. 100-0 Meteors fire back.
An excellent shot too, pretty much dominating that map. Shout out to Pyro for definitely my play of the game so far by getting that barrage in the first 22 seconds of the game. You got to think the first 10 seconds of that is just getting in line of sight of the other team, so it's really even shorter. So excellent play both by Rocket or by Pyro and the supports, keeping him alive, enabling him to do as much damage as possible, and the tanks having the proper rotations to facilitate proper damage play. We're gonna have to see what happens here on a very open map being Gardens, and Rocket going onto the Pharah and Pyro going onto the Mei. So a lot of mix and matching from what I expected. So I'm very interested to see what both teams are capable of with their respective lineups.
Rolling out Bubba's just been using the Lucio to get him a speed boost, but honestly, literally a complete just composition swap coming onto this point. J-Vice gonna be lining up against Shoni Red on the Reaper though. They take the far side of the point, so the far doesn't have an angle. They just need to get as much damage in from Rocket as they can here.
Bray coming in with that first pick on a J-Vice, really disabling the amount of damage that the other team can do, and it's just looking like it's going to be an Eclipse taking this point pretty freely. Excellent positioning by Rocket to make the tanks' lives a lot harder, having those multiple damage angles as you get onto that point. And looks like there's a couple adjustments that are going to come out on the side of the Meteors, having Pyro switch onto the McCree, probably to handle the Pharah. But the Pharah having pretty much an ultimate on the way is going to be really tough to handle, even if, you are McCree with the hit scan prowess. But Rocket's probably going to have the pocket. They're going to really have to land those headshots. And the way they're going, it's looking like it's going to be a hard task.
Yeah, I want to see a big ultimate here out of Rocket. He has every opportunity in the world, and he takes out Cool Sam. No barrage required. Pushing on early onto the point here, but it's going to be shut down immediately. Rocket picking up 2 members of Meteors with his barrage, but the Resurrect does come in, picking up Gray. The main tank back alive for Eclipse. They're going to stabilize on point. 34% taking down. Not an awful fight for Meteors, but certainly not the way they want it to go.
Absolutely not. Got the ult out of Rocket, but that just fed the ult of Cryptic and Shoney, so I don't know if, out of the fryer is really just not looking good for this next engagement either, so we'll have to see what Pyro is capable of doing to really shut down the damage presence of Rocket, and if that's even possible, because Rocket's looking on fire right now.
Using an early Coalescence to engage Meteors, like to push onto the point. Coalescence going down both ways, but the Death Blossom in charge for Shoney, ready to looking. He's waiting for his opportunity to get in and use it. The Bongo is committed from Eclipse. No members going down yet. The Gravitic Flux does manage to pick up 2 members here of Meteors, but picking off both ways. Cool Sam and Shoney Red both going down. Sound barrier to engage, I believe, was used by Trash Rodent, but he does get taken out almost immediately after. Pyro taking out Rocket, but Shoney Red getting picked back up, and Bubbers fighting 2 with the Discord Orb. Bray looking to clean it up, 80% taking down on his point. Eclipse closing it out solid, firing right back.
Yeah, I don't believe that the Meteors will have an easy job getting back onto this point. They do have Pyro with an ult and Courage with an ult, so maybe potentially get back on, but with 6 seconds left, it's gonna be a tall order.
95 seconds, J-Vice looking to be the man who touches here. This Cool Sam slowly pushes on the shield, is used. Shoney Red does have his Blossom up, he moves slowly into the back line here of Meteors, firing as much as he can and tying all the kills himself. 1 kill from the Deadeye is not going to be enough to turn it back around, but Courage picking off Cryptic Force might just be what they need to close it out. But Shoney Red putting an end to that one almost immediately. 100-0. It's going to be Eclipse taking our first map. Li Zhang goes the way of the red side.
Yeah, that map, Night Market, really woke the sleeping giant that is Eclipse. They did not want to be the team that got 100 0'd into losing the map that they started out so strongly on, and kind of sent the message with the performance on Gardens. But here's that 22-second barrage. Excellent ult by Pyro. I wish that my Pharo was that clean.
Yeah, same.
But going into map 2, after seeing some phenomenal play, obviously Meteors are susceptible to having, a swap because they're big roster. What do you think we're going to be seeing?
Honestly, I think a lot of it is going to depend on this next map pick for Meteors. They do have the option of any of these control maps. They have Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, or Assault maps, Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Volskaya. And I feel like their best option here is probably going to be splitting up Eclipse as much as they can. Eclipse was playing as a pretty solid unit, even when they had the Pharah, not taking too many off angles outside of the small ones that were available on Garden. And so I think taking them to a map, maybe like Anubis, where you have to make a little bit tougher pushes into a more spread out roster, I think that's probably going to be the best pick. And it does look like they're going to decide to go with Anubis here for the next map. What do you expect to see here?
Going further on your analysis, I think this is a bit of an oversight. I think Volskaya would have been the optimal map because Meteors are a team that like to build up momentum and keep it a little bit more notably than Eclipse. And I think Volskaya is a pretty much free take on first point for a lot of teams at this level. So it's really just how you defend that second point. But Temple and Hanamura are both maps where holding first point is pretty common. So we'll have to see what Meteor's plan is to try to disassemble the defense of Eclipse. I don't believe Pharah is all that great on Temple of Anubis. I think that her pathing is very linear, and that can be a death sentence for a Pharah that's up against a pretty good hit scan, or maybe even just focus fire, including the Sigma Orisa. So I don't know if this is the best idea, but then again, I'm not the Meteors. It's their maps that they practiced. So I am just excited to see what Eclipse are capable to do on this first point defense. I think that they woke up from map 3 after a pretty lackluster map 2 of Li Zhang, and I think they keep showing us how great they are and try to prove that their rough first half of the season was just not being committed to
Now
to
we
try
do
to
see,
forecast.
yeah, we see swaps though coming out for Meteors. Holly and Arise swap out for Trash Rodent and Late, so that is the full support line, I believe.
Yep.
For Meteors. I think that could mean we see something like a Bastion on the defense here for Temple of Anubis, but it might have just been a morale swap. Try and swap up the team as much as they can, try and get some different players in. Because, that doesn't feel good to lose map 1. You certainly don't want the momentum rolling with it.
Exactly right. And the cool heads of Arise and Holly are definitely gonna reset the team. And I don't think Meteors are a team to really get tilted or even really upset or disassembled by the fact that they could lose map one. It's map one. It's a control map. You don't win them all. It's literally how statistics work. But I I don't know if it's enough just to swap your supports around. I think J Vice and I'd say Pyro is performing excellent. So like J Vice especially is gonna have to really step up their damage output and maybe even like change their pathing a little bit. I know they were able to get into the back line a lot and get away with Wraith while killing their main tank. But at the same time, maybe like upping that pick to one or from one to two in these situations where the rest of your team, while you're off on the flank, is getting rolled over, is really what's going to come down to is the damage potential coming out of the carry DPS, which Jvice looks to be on a excellent hero for that, being Hanzo, and Pyro on just as capable of a hero as Junkrat. Intense damage coming out of the meteors. They are probably expecting the double shield and trying to blow it up. I think that's the plan, especially with the Roadhog, who has the potential to do that too. Baptiste has a lot of damage output. Mercy, increasing the amount of damage you can do. This seems like a boom or bust comp, and I wish them luck because this should be interesting.
It's going to be all in how they run it here. The sport line swap did end up swapping up their hero pools here, and I love the Junkrat. Honestly, on Anubis, he's felt so strong recently. I've said it every single time we see this map, and we end up seeing a Junkrat in the past few times we got into cast this map. And J-Vi's taking out Rocket early. Headshot right to the dome. That Hanzo area does not feel too good.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see coming out of the Hanzo. You're almost halfway to ult at this point, so might as well just put all your resources into them, which is exactly what Arise is doing. It's an excellent play, getting more ult charge that way for the Mercy. And just pocket the Hanzo until ult, and once they try to go into that right or even left room, or maybe just right down choke, that Hanzo ult is rough to walk into, especially with Orisa pulling you right back into place.
So it's taking a second to line back up. Laying down the shield, though, is Cryptic Force, and taken out already again. Shony Red, are they even going to get to touch this point? Bray rushing to make his way into the right room along with his main support Bubbers, but honestly, Eclipse is completely split here. Courage looks for the pick onto the Reaper, not going to be finding anybody with that hook. Slowly pushing up, though, is Eclipse. They're holding down this door, though. Meteor is absolutely locking the gate.
Yeah, Meteors could have took advantage of the fact that Eclipse are pretty much split half and half, and now Eclipse are going to have the advantage getting onto this high ground. But of course, the Junkrat being there, nothing's going to be easy.
Early invulnerability feel forced out. Courage looking for the hook, not going to be finding anybody. Rocket just looking to get into the backline as best he can here. The Coalescence used out of Bubbers, though, is going to be finding members, dealing a lot of damage here. Rocket taking out Holly is huge. That support line cut in half. Courage finds one pick back with 3 members dead here. And a massive shield out of Cryptic Force doing a fantastic job blocking that tire. Pyro desperately trying to hold on to this point, but it looks like it's too little too late as Eclipse managed to hold on to this point 1.
Yeah, Power got an excellent first pick, but after that wasn't able to get a lot of damage out on the other team. They were just had better pathing and great positioning to kind of outshine the damage potential of Junkrat. And then when they finally got a position to have a comfortable ult, it got immediately dismantled by the shield of Cryptic Force, who kind of the hero moment. Stopping a big ult like that really can change the pace of the game.
Yeah, somehow turning it all around, getting their, taking a second, stopping outside that door, getting their coordination in order so they could really make a solid push, and that's exactly what happened. And honestly, I feel like Eclipse have done a fantastic job adapting this whole series. Oh, the hook though lands on the Cryptic Force. He's taken out immediately. A fantastic combo out of the Meteors.
And here come the Meteors about to pick off the stragglers best they can. With a Roadhog, that becomes infinitely easier.
Eclipse backing off, looking to make the same type of push we saw him last time. Bray gets hooked. He's too aggressive. He holds his position when he had no right to be that far forward. Shony Red as well getting picked off from very far away.
Almost a 20-second stagger. It's not what you want to see. But of course, with the positioning that they took to try to get in that left room coming from their side, was not optimal to lose Cryptic that early. Of course, it's not up to him. He got boosted up by the May wall and got effectively sent into the Shadow Realm. So here they come trying to go down potentially right side.
that May wall is going to be real dangerous here as they push across the right side of the map. The Halt lands, and the hook lands on Bray as Courage takes him out immediately, looking to use the Blizzard onto the point. They do have the sound barrier available. Courage getting frozen right on the point alongside Holly, but the invulnerability is going to be keeping the support here for Meteors alive for a little bit longer. Bubber's getting frozen by Pyro, but Death Boss him out of Rocket, looking to close this fight out early. The Dragon used that cross point, picks up 4 members of Eclipse. J-Vice doing it all on his own. You wanted plays. There they are.
Exactly. I'm ecstatic to see J-Vice prove me wrong on the fact that they weren't doing as much damage in map 1. J-Vice out here saving the team. Excellent combo play with the Orisa, of course, by Cool Sam. And a fight that was a little scuffed, obviously. Losing the Orisa first looked like it was going to go in the way of Eclipse, even though of having that early pick. But J-Vice cleaning up the trash.
The Halt lands the hook again on a Cryptic Force. It's landed every single time. They haven't blocked it once, and Cool Sam's hunting down the stragglers. He's running them down as best they can, but you can be sure that Eclipse aren't going to be holding nearly as close this time.
Absolutely, they're going to have to change up their game plan. It's not looking like they can really stop the Halt hook combo as well as you'd think that this comp would be able to. Having a Reaper, having a Mei, having a they had a Mei until a few seconds ago. Would be able to stop these Halt hooks from landing, but
oh my god, again? Oh.
Yeah, again, with the Moira and all these characters that are capable of getting out of the hooks, you'd think that they wouldn't fall for it so much, but that was 2 in a row. And it still got the hook on the Moira, maybe a little bit more focus fire would have had her dead, but let's see what Eclipse do here to... Nope.
Oh
and
my
here goes
gosh. They just got the Mei back in. They were getting ready to make their push.
I would like to see what they did on the first part of the map, which is take a second, understand what's going wrong, fix the error, and engage properly. Because right now, it looks like a game of deathmatch, and I'd appreciate if we get back to Overwatch.
I think we need to see Cryptic Force hold onto his shield for a bit longer. I think we're seeing him push forward with it, as opposed to slower with the Orisa shield, and he's not getting the hook blocks off that he could be. Oh, but the wall cuts Eclipse right in half. The Moira cut off, the damage gone, or the heal's gone. Rocket gets taken out immediately by Pyro here. The wall landing onto Cool Sam, trying to get him as much as they can. Eclipse not going to be able to have the damage, so that Reaper gone. Cryptic Force gets taken out next in 1 minute, 25 seconds on the clock. And we've only seen 2 fights on this point B.
Absolutely, and Pyro there starting the fight off with a cheeky freeze onto the Baptiste, and that's the kind of play that you want to see out of the DPS on a point like this. Hiding behind corners, like characters like Junkrat, Mei, Reaper, Doom, anything. Just hiding behind these little nooks and crannies of this extra detailed map and just take advantage of the excess amount of cover.
Deciding to push main. The Mei wall doesn't land on anybody. The Griddick Fox picks up 3 members here of the Meteors. It's going to be kills going both ways. Rocket picking up 2 members here of the Meteors, but the Roadhog will look at him zone as many people off the points as he can. Courage trying to hold on as best he can, but Rocket, as long as he's alive on this Reaper, he's a threat, and he gets taken out by Courage immediately. Arise picks up Holly. That's another support here alive for Meteors. That's more sustain. That's exactly what they need. Shonira takes out Arise, though. It's going to be, again, the heels cut out. Shonira himself popping off as best he can. Vice cut off by the wall. Cool Sam is frozen here. He's open for the pickings, but it's not going to be enough. 3 members left alive. 2-1. Shonira, the last man, holding on to the dreams of pushing this point B right now. Eclipse look completely bamboozled.
It's the respawn advantage. It's something that they're probably not accustomed to, having Meteors being so willing to just hide in the corner with the Orisa shield and wait for the respawns to come back, outpacing the potential of Eclipse, who only have 4 or 5 players on at the same time. Let's see what they can do with this last fight.
Not too many else coming into this fight, but J-Vice's Dragon is going to be a huge one to look out for here. He uses it from the exact same side as he did before, but Pyro fragging off himself. The Doomfist finding 2 members here. Holly picking off Bray, 3 members left alive, 2 members. Shonira, the last man, going to be taken out here for Eclipse.
Yeah, seeing Courage on a more comfortable role of Roadhog, enabling the having the damage enabled by Holly and Arise really puts Meteors back in the driver's seat in this series, and it's a much better look. A very dominating win. Kind of dismantled the snowball that was forming on the side of Eclipse. We'll see what they're able to do on the defense here, but this is definitely looking like Meteor's map, and it should be when you end up picking the map like they did, and you can tell that they've put a lot of time into practicing the callouts for specific engagements, the positioning going in on whether they're going down main, right, or left, or really anything. Just dismantling the map, understanding what works, what doesn't, and disassembling the team on the spot. And definitely, Meteor's looking great.
Now, you mentioned before that one of the biggest question marks is what are Eclipse going to look to run on defense here? And we'll get to see here in a second. But I think as well, another interesting question here is going to be what do Meteors look to run on attack as Pyro locks in a Pharah?
Yeah, I think I said it earlier that I personally don't like Pharah, but then again, I didn't make the game. So, Pharah, again, just hyper linear engagements, but Pyro, knowing the character exponentially more than I do, probably has this all figured out. The problems have been rinse and repeated over and over and over again to find out what works best. How are you going to engage with this combo of pharmacy? And we know Arise is capable of propping up Pyro very well. And J-Vice still on the Hanzo is going to be such a big damage threat. So and then Holly, fair share of power plays, both DPSing and supporting. So we'll have to see what Eclipse is capable of doing on defense here. But I think Meteors might be up to the task to make this either short work or at least convincing.
Courage getting taken out early. It's looking exactly the same here for Meteors as it did just for the first opening seconds, of course. We're not quite going to see the full staggers that we saw so far. But I think one of the biggest holes here for Eclipse is going to be the hit scan DPS. Bubbers is going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders trying to take this far out of the sky. And she's just going to keep knocking people off of this high ground. 9 volts fade cooldown is going to be forced out repeatedly, but a massive wall pulling 3 members in. But Cooltime gets the better of Brave, pulling him just far enough off the high ground to get the pick. 1 member down for Eclipse.
And Holly already having that window ready to pop probably when they get to point and do a lot of damage. And here it goes.
There's going to be a big question mark here in Rocket's tire. He could even it up with this. He looks to take the high ground. Pushing down early. Does take out J-Vice. That's 1 member down with Pyro dishing in the damage here on the Pharah. Fighting as many members as he can here. If Eclipse Ray comes back on the hamster ball. But 3 members here on the point. 4 soon enough with Bubbers is... pardon me, healing. Cryptic Force pushes back on with Pyro with the barrage. Takes out Cryptic Force and Brave. Both tanks gone. This first point almost certainly takes over the way of Meteors.
Oh, absolutely. That was well done. Pyro initiated that with the pull off of Cool Sam with the boop, which was, you know, what the opening pick was. A setup for pretty much that entire engagement. Getting Holly up to ult super fast, using the window to do excess damage on the point where everybody got pushed back to. It was just kind of a domino effect that they had already planned out in their heads. Just needed to actualize it.
Now we see Meteors pushing the left side of the point here, and I really like this because it gives the Pharah a lot of off angles to play. She's playing all the main, but Bray gets hooked up here. The Dragon is committed. We'll be taking out Bubbers in vulnerability field, not mattering, but Bray and Shunny are trading right back to be putting it in their team's favor. Courage doing the best he can, but it's not going to be enough. Eclipse managed to hold on to this point for another day.
Absolutely. It was interesting to see the Baptiste player walk out of their own immortality field. I'm not used to that. I'm usually hearing that in my mic, like please walk back into my powerful circle ability. So that's a little embarrassing, but here they come back with the window and 2 more ults to pair with that. Shoni making a last second switch onto Mei. I can see the utility. I don't think it's a terrible idea. Losing the McCree though to take care of the Pharah is a good call, seeing that Pyro did pretty much the same thing. So we'll have to see the Mei duel here. Who will come out on top, Pyro or Shoni?
The walls are going to be everything to look out for, but the ultimate advantage is in the way of Eclipse. If they can use it effectively here, the Gravitic Flux will be the ultimate to look out for. The window is dropped in the choke, but cut off our Courage and Cool Sam by the Mei wall out of Shoni Red. Fantastic job here on the Mei.
And some heroics coming out from J-Vice, taking down 3. Definitely cool to watch. Not the best to, you know, to win the point when you have still 3 left on, but super cool. Like, you know, the profit plays from the league. Kind of reminiscent of that.
Yeah,
Hanzo.
Just do that, but earlier.
Right, yeah, exactly. You'd like to see that a little bit sooner, but still fun to watch. I like that. I like seeing Hanzo's having the capability to just pop off on a moment's notice.
The ultimate game pretty much even up here. Cryptic Force getting taken out. The Gravitic Flux is no longer available here for Eclipse until he gets back on the field. They try to back up as best they can. Rocket finds through members here of Meteors, and 9 Volt picking off 1 more with the Coalescence. Looks like another fight is going to be going their way.
Yeah, absolutely great ult out of 9 Volt, keeping the entire team alive, well healed, and of course Meteors trying to run on to the team of Eclipse. anytime you want to engage on a team in a brawl setting like that, and you have a Moira having a great off angle, doing both healing and damage, it's pretty much a one team fight. That's both utility out of that ult in full power, especially with how much she's capable of doing in this current meta. Definitely don't want to enable that if you have the option.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing exactly what we saw on Lijiang Tower with the choke point on control point. Early, using their ult, cycling them efficiently, picking up 2 members with the Gritted Flux, looking to end this one early. They use it aggressively, but it's going to be healed immediately back up. Windows used from both sides, shredding through all the shields. The Maywall just be cutting off. They want to play this fight neutral as best they can. They do have 2 ultimates available. Blizzards from both sides, but the early Blizzard from Pyro to engage the vulnerability field, keep him alive as best you can. Bubber's still alive here, but the kill's rolling both ways. Holly and Coolsam, you have 2 members, but Shonir finds a rise, and Holly down, Rocket taking him out. The Sport's no longer alive. It's going to be Eclipse yet again.
The patience coming out from Shoni. They see the ults go in. They see all of the tension in the air of do I ult now? Do I ult now? Do I ult now? And then in response to the Mei ult, giving their team kind of a second chance. Just carrying that team fight on the back of the great Mei Blizzard. And here they come with another 9-volt Coalescence. They've been very potent on this map. And then an excellent ult to build up the rest of the team's ult being Supercharger.
Pushing around the right side, it's going to be Meteors looking to engage. Coalescence to drop from both sides as well as the Bongas, but Pyro taking out Cryptic Force early. Shonir trading right back onto Pyro. The Doomfist threat now gone. That one-hit kill now out of the game is going to be huge here for Eclipse. They push on the point, but Courage taking out Rocket in the backline, doing a fantastic job dealing with that Reaper. J-Vice fragging out on a 9-volt. Doesn't matter anymore. The Dragon dropped out of J-Vice. He was looking to end this one right now. Bryce slowly going down on the Orisa. Rocket will be up to touch here as best he can, but they only need 1 tick, and it's going to be the map going the way of Meteors, tying the series up 1-1.
J-Vi's doing exactly what I wanted him to do, really showing up on the Hanzo, a lot of the hero plays. Hopefully we see him in the play of the game here. Exactly what I wanted to see. Hopefully it's that 3-man in the corner.
A nice oh no, it's the 4-man on the point. Oh my goodness.
An excellent ult. I mean, there wasn't really a bad one. I have nothing to compare it to that wasn't also excellent, so maybe we'll call it par. But a lot of damage coming out of J-Vice, and can't fault Eclipse for really having a not as great of a showing on that map. They definitely did the best they could. They got it back to like 1 or 2 fight territory, being able to tie it up. But Meteors having complete control on Anubis, and it looks like that's a really well-seasoned map for them. So a lot of practice, a lot of scrims before these games, and I really hope to see more of these like really intricate set pieces and well thought out engages on both sides.
I think one of the biggest things we've seen this whole series has been Eclipse winning neutral fights and then Eclipse managing to hold on to an ultimate advantage for an ungodly amount of time. Outside of early neutral fights without ultimates, it's been Meteors all the way. Meteors are taking the fights where the ultimates are even. Meteors are taking the fights where they're holding point and they have the advantage. But it's just the thing that's been carrying Eclipse so far has been their ability to roll their ultimates so efficiently.
Exactly. The ult economy, honestly, both teams have been doing a great job of really maintaining a prominent ult economy. And no team really came into a team fight without an answer to something, being whether it be not having enough ults but still having supercharger, which really enables the team to get those ults a lot faster with the increased damage output, and then the window to be able to enable the team from a little bit longer range. Both BAPs performing really well. The damage line just, I think, is what ended up pushing Meteors across the finish line in that one.
We do see a couple subs here coming in for Meteors. Do you want to go ahead and break these down while I try and get them figured out in the lobby?
Sure. So HQC coming in, which is always great to see, and Latent Trash coming back in is going to be probably again, they have those mixing support lines that are probably for situation X you put in these guys, situation Y you put in those guys, and I doubt they really intermingle them. I wouldn't, but I'm sure that in scrims and in casual play they all play together. So I'm sure it'd be just fine if we ignore the formula. But HQC is really the one I'm going to look at. How will HQC change the game in comparison to what Courage was able to do? HQC being a little bit more seasoned on the role is going to be really interesting. A lot of leadership coming out of HQC. Um, Again, the same thing we're coming into map 2 when we said there's a strong presence when you see a Rise come back onto the field, or same thing with Holly. Um, it's really levels the team out, but maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you want to keep that momentum that you just got on Temple. So I'm not sure if this is the right pick. Obviously, no one's sure. Nothing's happened yet. We're just looking at a screen. But I'd like to think that HQC is going to show us something worth watching. Their Winston play is great. Their Ryan play is great. I'm sure the Orisa is going to be just as great, um, if not better. Um, but with HQC coming on, I want to see a different style of compositions. One excluding the conventional Orisa, but here we are, probably looking at an Orisa Hog or maybe even an Orisa Sig coming onto this first point. Kings Row, most people's favorite map is what I've noticed in the community. Kind of facilitates any comp you want to run. If you want to run dive, sure, just make sure your pathing's good. You want to run Ryan Zarya, sure, just hold W with a Lucio. If you want to run the meta of just double shield, sure. I mean, of course, that works on most maps, but it comes down to the DPS. That's what makes these maps different. On attack, double sniper is very prominent on the ladder, so that'd be cool to see. Mei does excellent, being able to block off the chokes very effectively. They're almost all perfectly sized for the wall. Doom has a lot of walls to work with on this map, but I don't see him as often as I used to. Reaper, good everywhere. Ash isn't too bad. There's a lot of great high grounds for snipers, so really Ash, McCree, Widow, Hanzo all have a place here. Even Junk with a lot of the very direct choke spam. So it's really a DPS's paradise, and I think that's a lot of the reason why people latch onto this map. And Meteors having a very similar composition as they did on Temple.
I think the most interesting thing here is going to be the Pharah out of Rocket. How much damage can he get in here? They're running the Pharah Hanzo. It's going to be a lot, and they will be able to burst through these shields, but whether or not they can find the kills is going to be the real question.
Yeah, with the Pharah walking around Outerworth, it presents a lot of damage output.
Oh my gosh, forget that. Pyro's going to be taking him right out of this guy, clipping those wings bright and early.
Yeah, here comes the res, but not long for this world was the Pharah, going right back into the grave. But Pyro going down, so technically even, but ult's coming out here from Baptiste should clean up the game. Baptiste with the hero play, taking care of both tanks.
Getting that early window is so potent, those neutral fights can be absolutely turned around. And it honestly just felt like Bray and Cryptic Force just caught with their pants down there. An unfortunate position to get the window against you in, but fantastic use by Late.
The damage output coming out of Eclipse, though, has been getting 9-Volt closer and closer to that early Valk, potentially outpacing Trash. And that could be a really big game changer here. That's a very strong ultimate in these kind of brawly comps, hitting everybody with healing or damage, or just enabling the Pharah still. So we'll have to see what 9-Volt does here in a few seconds when they get that ult.
The Dragon drops here onto 3 members of Eclipse. It's going to be taking out 2 of them. Bray, the last man left alive in the corner. And Eclipse is playing to split the point here. The 3-man hit squad going through Hotel. Absolutely shut down by J-Vice.
Absolutely. It's not the best look. They probably didn't know that he had already gotten up to ult, and that's why they went for that engagement. They might take the same route again, knowing that he doesn't have it. But then again, like Pyro's ult, Blizzard will do a very similar thing, snuffing out that type of engagement. And like I said, with 9-Volt having that ult online, Trash was able to get also up to a Valkyrie because of that engagement not going on the side of Eclipse.
The Dragon going the exact opposite direction, but the invulnerability field going to be keeping everybody alive. It does manage to split him in half. A Rocket taking out J-Vice. This going to be exactly the key they need. The barrage lands, takes out Late. 3 kills going the way of Rocket, taking out everyone here from the side of the Meteors, and Pyro and Trash Red, the last people left alive on point alongside J-Vice. They can't manage to frag out of this one. J-Vice taking out Shunner is going to be exactly what they need. 9-Volt, though, does manage to pick up Bray just in time. Trash Red trying to get the heals for his DPS as best he can. but committing the Gravitic Flux is going to be Cryptic Force. A little bit unusual there, but the point is not ticked over yet. 3 members here for Meteors are slowly coming up, but it looks like they're just going to decide to hold on to this corner.
Yeah, I'd like to hope that Cryptic did that in anticipation for a swap, but I have a sinking suspicion that's not the case.
Late
There they go, going into this.
Guy.
Yeah, it might behoove the Meteors to take this engagement early as they go in with a lot of snowball trying to snuff out this what's left of Eclipse on the point.
Go and they will, and desperately trying to stay alive. All of Eclipse's members just retreating to spawn as best they can. Rocket needs to not get taken out of the sky here. They can't afford to get staggered like they did last round.
Yeah, and definitely with an ult advantage of Meteors, I'm assuming that we're going to be holding this corner for at least 1 or 2 team fights. But and here comes J-Vice with that super powerful ult again.
Early Dragon does manage to take 9-volt out of the sky, and taking Cryptic Force out of the ground will be J-Vice doing all the work here for Meteors, the rest of his team cleaning up the kills, but J-Vice showing up for 4 of them.
And what a bummer for Eclipse too, because they only dedicated 1 dragon to that, and he's already halfway to his next one, and having Pyro pretty much at Blizzard once this team fight starts. Only 4 ults on the side of Eclipse coming in, potentially. Rocket obviously not there yet, but Pharah ult builds pretty fast. Let's see what they can do with this high ground engagement.
Deciding to push off the high ground, gonna try and eliminate this choke as best they can, but it looks like they're gonna try and wrap all the way around. An interesting strategy, but do they manage to catch it out? They find the Sonic Arrow onto all 6 members here. They know exactly what's coming for them. How do Meteors need to respond?
I think they're playing exactly right. Just wait out the clock, let the engagement come, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, they've wasted a lot of time on the clock.
Early pick by Cryptic Force, trade right back by late, but the res comes up on a J-Vice, picking up that clutch Hanzo we've seen all match. Rocket laying in the damage though, combined with the Maywall, gonna be locking everybody in with the Rockets. And Rocket just trying to do as much damage as he can on this backline, trying to carry this team fight. The Gravitic Flux does manage to hold the rest of Eclipse back for a good while. Rocket laying in the damage, but not managing to find any kills, but it's J-Vice and Pyro on the opposite end, finding all the kills they could ever want.
Pyro really carrying that team fight. For anybody who didn't see, we had 9-volt going for the res that got completely snuffed out by Pyro's wall. So getting rid of that ability, pretty much no cost, was awesome. Having the May ult to really press home the fact they were going to win that fight. Another hero moment, and then getting 2 picks at the end of it. Really well done from Pyro. A lot of heroics coming out from the DPS line of Meteors.
Now just the Bongos to push through this, and they're going to have to back up all the way to this next corner. Meteors giving up the space, but not giving up the kills. As 2 kills go their way, they like to push this one out early and lock this point down even more.
And then only losing 1 who being immediately res is J-Vice. Here they go, just rolling them right back into their spawn. There has to be an adjustment that Eclipse has in their back pocket to get them out of this situation. I hope that we see it here soon.
Pushing in, they do have the Gravitic Flux. That's going to be their only advantage coming in this next fight. But they're coming up against the Dragon out of J-Vice. He's waiting for his opportunity, but the Blizzard comes in early, and it gets eaten by HQC. Massive out of the Sigma from Meteors. 2 members picked up by the Gravitic Flux, but it's not going to be enough. Pyro picking off Cryptic Force. Shonen Red, though, taking out Cool Sam. The main tank gone. Shonen Red up top. J-Vice taking him out. The kills going both ways right now, but the Gravitic Flux will be picking up 2 members here for Meteors. Looking to close this one out. HQC pushing up the best he can. J-Vice laying in the damage right behind him. Bubbers desperately trying to use his coalescence to try and secure this point, but the kills just aren't going their way.
Now the supports on the side of Meteors keeping everybody up who needs to be up with that immortality feel, with the Mercy ult, with the May, just really elongating this fight way more than it initially should have been. And let's see if these respawns from the side of Eclipse are enough, but right now it's looking like Meteors definitely have an
Rockets in the
advantage.
back line with a massive Death Blossom, picking up 3 members here of Meteors. He's going to hold on to this point just a little bit longer for his team. Oh my god, right when they needed it.
That was an excellent play. I hope we see a little bit more of that coming out as a standard instead of just once in a while, but we'll see what they're able to do. I think they should be able to secure this last point, but they do have the Wrecking Ball, which can be a little bit, dicey as we get into this last point.
But securing that point B in one fight is not the worst thing. They could have ended up getting an early hold, but get picked off. They look for the fight. They look to hold the card, but they don't get there in time. And Late and Cool Sam go down for it, and it looks like it's going to be a free fight win here for Eclipse.
Yeah, the engagement was a little bit scuffed by Meteors probably assuming that HQC was going to be able to touch the point as Ball. They were a little bit more passive on their frontal engagement, and when they finally realized that they had to get on the card, it was too little, too late. They'd overpressed their advantage. They didn't have the shield pressure to really take that fight, and then Eclipse walked all over them.
The window used early here out of the late. Gonna look to end this fight as best he can, but the Blizzard is committed. It's gonna be landing here on the 4 members of Meteors, and they're gonna clean it right up. A fantastic ultimate from Shoni Red.
And then Pyre here on the Widow, just looking to be a little bit of cannon fodder at the end there. I don't believe that there's anyone who can touch point besides, oh, Trash Road getting a nice little cheeky
touch, and he finds 2 boops onto the DPS members here of Eclipse. If they're gonna have a hard time closing this one out, the sound barrier lays, but another boop on the bubbers. Oh my goodness, Trash Road coming up huge when it matters. Oh my god, they look to close out this fight. 9-Volt and Bray desperately holding on to the point, but 17 seconds left. They might only get one more push, if that.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fast engagement if they end up getting to the point, but excellent double boop, getting 3 kills out of it by Trash, and now having their ult online for it. Definitely a hero moment for Trash.
They managed to get the touch out, but Rocket blasting off again, going to be taken right off the point. Pick from J-Vice on the Shoni Red, and it looks like it's all going to be going the way of the Meteors as they barely hold on to this map.
Yeah, it's kind of just going to be cleanup duty now by the Meteors. It doesn't look like there's really anything they can do, but we do have a ball spinning on point, and you know how that can go. Really, anything can happen.
Rocket looking big for the death blast, but J-Vice can be taken right out of that. The Sonic arrow to the dome, humiliation kill will be it, but 3 members still left alive. Shoni Red popping off of the Tracer. The mines will be throwing the rest of the Meteors off the point, but as long as they can, this Bond slowly coming in. 2 members left alive, but they get knocked off, and the overtime takes down. And that's going to be holding on to the 3rd point, Meteors.
Interesting last engagement. Bray living a little longer than what I would have expected. And then the ult coming out of Rocket, which potentially could have got them to the 3rd point of that map, immediately getting shut down by J-Vice again on that Hanzo, which I'm glad I'm not playing DPS in this game because I would be very upset by how many times J-Vice has killed each individual on the side of Eclipse.
You know, I think J-Vice just heard you on the 2nd map. He's got to be tuning into the stream or something, because the instant we mentioned him not quite performing, this man has absolutely turned it around and put Pyro in the backseat doing all the work himself. J-Vice is just like absolutely unstoppable. Not to mention Trash Rodent coming up absolutely ginormous. I think that was honestly an entire push of big plays. Rocket, of course, finding the huge 4-man Death Blossom was so important and allowed Eclipse to push that map probably further than they deserved to, if I'm being completely honest, given their prior pushes. But right back, closing out with the boops is just as big.
No, yeah, that was an excellent push by Eclipse to get out of the first choke finally, and then make it as far as they did. Good, you know, good on them for making a bad situation look doable. This map just became a little bit more winnable for them, and I hope they take advantage of that, because I'm sure Meteor is going to come out swinging full throttle, and if they're not ready to catch that engagement, might be a quick map.
The question is, how are they going to deal with this far out of Pyro? They've had trouble with it in the past, and now they've got J-Vice's Hanzo to worry about alongside it. Shoni Red on the May has a big task ahead of him. Pyro slowly pushing here around the point.
Yeah, and Meteor's taking this this engagement pretty slow, getting the good rotations, kind of snuffing out abilities with theirs. A lot of good use of the Orisa Fortify and the shields, but here we go with an early immortality. Let's see if it gets punished or rewarded.
Rewarded it will be, and J-Vice taking out Bray is going to be the early pick they need, taking out that main tank, shredding down the shield slowly with all this damage. Cryptic Force just trying to hold on this point, not give up a tick. And HQC taking out Rockets being the next step they need, though. Accretion does not land on the far as Cryptic Force is taken right off the ground. 2 members left alive on point here. Eclipse, but an early take out of Meteors is not what you want to see for the red side.
Yeah, aside from Trash Rodent for obvious reasons not being on a damage character, the amount of focus fire and damage capability that Meteors have right now and what they're able to display is incredible. HQC was able to pretty much destroy any shield that got put on point. J-Vice was right there with a charged arrow with a headshot right after it went down.
Oh no, Trash Runs caught out. He lost his far on the top of the building. Oh no.
And, you know, with one comes the other. Usually we see the Pharah go down right after the Mercy. Let's see if Pyro can finagle their way out of this situation as they hide around the upper levels of King's Row.
Rooftop of King's Row might just be what Pyro needs here to get away with this Mercy, but they get to push through the choke for free because they're keeping an eye for them. Oh my gosh, a barrage picking up 3 members. Pyro, no mercy required. Cryptic Force gonna be trading back onto him, but that's almost certainly yet another fight here for Eclipse, or for Meteors.
Yeah, and Pyro getting rewarded there with a nice resurrection. Seeing the Mercy again after being separated for so long must have been heartwarming. So glad to see the combo be back together here. And Pyro, another great ult, making again something out of nothing. A terrible situation for any other Pharah player, but an experienced one like Pyro getting a lot of value out of it.
Oh, but a Dragon fantastically cutting off Bray here. You're going to take him down to about half health. The Coalescence, though, just trying to touch the point from Bumpers. And they managed to get to it just barely on time. The Dragon traded right back. H usually trying to push everybody off that point with the Whole Hog. It's not going to be enough as Rocket and Shony Red showing they can do it too. J-Vice, though! Oh my gosh, this man doing it on his own. The Hanzo popping off 4 kills in the feed for J-Vice.
There's just too many DPS characters on this team, I'm telling you. It's not fair for people like Eclipse that are stuck in this 2-2-2 meta when you have players like Late and Pyro, HQC, J-Vice, and even Cool Sam with a pretty much walking Bastion just mowing you down with this excellent damage. J-Vice probably hasn't missed a shot, so I don't know what you're going to do here as Eclipse coming into this last fight with 5 minutes.
Rocket trying to play the Hanzo into him, but J-Vice fully asserting his dominance there as Pyro looking to dish out the damage on the backline here. Cryptic Force trying to hold on to this point, going to be using his Gravitic Flux, only picks up 1 member, and Pyro looking to trade back. He takes out Shony Red, but right in return, J-Vice's Dragon, though, just as big as every other one we've seen tonight. 3 members left alive here for Eclipse as the res comes in, going to be adding 1 more support to that lineup. Cryptic Force just trying to stay alive as best he can. J-Vice, though, looking like a threat. He manages to take him out. The spawns will start to come in. Bray is on the ball. The boom comes in, does not manage to knock any members of Meteors in, just barely, but the spawns slowly rolling up. Shony Red is on the McCree. He will be able to try and find a pick on this Tracer if he can hit over with the flashbang. And the kill slowly but surely rolling in for Eclipse as they look to hold on to this point just a little bit longer.
The combination of Late and Pyro there to take out Shony Red, who's in that high noon, which could have spelled the end of this fight for Meteors, ends up elongating it with this super staggered push, but I think this is just about it unless J-Vice wants to tell us that he can get 1 more kill before the curtain's called.
Great job there by Shony Red, systematically taking out each member of Eclipse. It was a key part of making sure that didn't go badly. His teammates were dying, but I think they're doing a fantastic job of slowly focusing people down and helping out his teammates who were about to go down. Oh, well, and there he goes.
Yeah, and at the beginning of that last fight, he almost got booped, so, you know, very, very much could have gone the other way if just an inch more off the edge went that boop. But here we go, going into this potentially the last fight for Eclipse on this map if they don't pull off some crazy plays here. Excellent pull into almost nothing. And now here come Meteors with a great supercharger, pretty much flushing out anything that was going to come out of that mirror. But the Immortality Field, Shony Red on getting red in the kill feed is the side of Eclipse, and I gonna have to say HQC and Late are gonna have to head for the hills as Rocket really filling in his role as resident Hanzo player around here. As we see J-Vice coming in with an ult and Rocket getting close to one, we'll have to see this final showdown of Shamadas here on the 3rd point of King's Row.
Final is not quite gonna be it. Yeah, there's 2 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock. We got a whole lot of Overwatch left in this map if Eclipse want any chance of holding on to this King's Row. Slowly pushing, though, is Meteors pushing up the Junkrat on the high ground. They're gonna look to use the Dragon to engage it. Splits Eclipse perfectly in half the invulnerability field. Barely doing anything here. It's forced out. Cryptic Force just trying to get as much value as he can. The high noon dropped out of Shony Red, but it's just a reload. But Rocket finding a Dragon of his own, picking up 2 members. Pyro trading back on a Shony Red, but the kill feed is red, and Rocket popping off when it matters again.
Showing that there's more than one Hanzo on the field for sure. This 3 team fights in a row, the Rocket has been able to pull out a little bit more of an edge over J-Vice, and I'm wondering if that's affecting their play at all. I know, especially when you're in that Ditto, the effect that the other your doppelganger has on your mentality is much more severe than if it was something else like a Doomfist or a Genji. So we'll have to see how fast each team is at getting their ults, because right now we're rocking 0 on the side of both, and Meteors missing their off tank could spell disaster here, and a greater ult economy coming out of Eclipse might be the recipe that they've concocted after getting rid of HQC.
1 minute 25 seconds. If Pyro can manage to get his tire off, it could be huge here. There's no defensive ult from the side of Eclipse to try and stop it. Cryptic Force will have his Gravitic Flux, so that'll be an absolute crux here of this next fight. The question is, when does he decide to use it?
Exactly. I mean, there's excellent positioning here by Junkrat getting onto the high ground, but kind of just running in, wasting the tire.
So it's going to be now. The Dragon is dropped here out of Rocket, looking to find those kills, looking to clean up this fight. He manages to find HQC, but Pyro trading right back onto the Sigma of Cryptic Force. The Bongo drop. The damage will be coming out from Eclipse, giving him so much more to work with, but Pyro fragging out on this Junkrat. The High Noon is dropped. He fights 2 members. Shony Red coming up huge. Pyro gets stunned by the flashbang. The kill goes down for Rocket. 9 picking up Shony Red. 2 members left alive here for Meteors, but they hold on a bit longer. 33 seconds left, and this almost certainly spells disaster here for the Meteors.
This might just be Eclipse, who we saw at the beginning of this map, barely holding their own against a dominant-looking Meteors, pulling out this map if, you know, this last fight doesn't go in the way of Meteors. Not a lot of ults coming out of Meteors. You got J-Vice and potentially HQC in the latter half, but not much to look at inside of Eclipse either. This is just raw Overwatch we're seeing.
It's going to be Dragons both ways, though. This Shimada battle you talked about, it comes to a crux now. It's Dragons used both ways, cutting both teams in half. The invulnerability fields drop for both sides, but it's the kills turning up red. 2 kills here for the side of Eclipse to make it 3, but 2 kills back for Meteors. Looking to hold on to it as long as they can. They have 3 members left alive. The Widowmaker and the Hanzo trying to find picks as best they can, but Trash Road trying to hold on to this point desperately as overtime ticks down here. Pyro does his best, but it's not going to be enough as Eclipse pull out the hold of the night here on Kings Row.
An excellent map on the way of Eclipse. I shouldn't talk. I have the commentator's curse, it feels like, and Eclipse, right when I think they're out, prove that they're more than capable of taking on an opponent like we have here, Meteors. An excellent fight by both of these Hanzos pretty much every time when it got to point 3. That last one was extra special in my book because we saw 2 ults get casted pretty much at the same time and right at each other, so it looked incredible from my point of view. So, oh my goodness. Seeing both Hanzos on the board, I wish I had a vote. Would have, you know, doubled down on both, but the DPS line is what has been astounding to me today. Both teams nailing it, and it's really coming down to the positioning of the tanks. I saw HQC in that last fight walk right back into the Hanzo ult after he got pulled out of it. I'd like to think he was forced maybe by like boop or just excessive pressure to get right back in there, but it was what started the snowball effect that ended up winning Eclipse that point. So hopefully we see some adjustments for Meteors after halftime where they can pick up maybe map 4 and bring us into map 5 pretty strong. But going into halftime 2-1 Eclipse, not a lot of people probably would have predicted that, seeing as Meteors had the 2nd seed in this postseason tournament. So what are your thoughts on what we've seen so far?
I think honestly every map these teams have been firing back and forth. We saw it there just at the end. Of course, Eclipse barely managing to hold on and barely managing to crank it back up at the last second. But honestly, I feel like both teams have just been doing a fantastic job adapting, and we thought it might be a little bit of a struggle here for Eclipse given the size of their roster, and it has proven to be a little bit rough, but up 2-1 in the series is exactly where they want to be going into this halftime.
Yeah, I'd fail to see any reason you don't want to be up at halftime, especially against a team like Meteors. Dropping 1 map is probably a-okay for the guys on Eclipse. And the best part about it is that you keep that momentum coming out of halftime. You have the same 6 players coming right back on, while Meteors are probably going to do a little bit of musical chairs and who's in the hot seat, who's not. And I'd like to see Arise come back on. Arise is doing great, but I don't know who you take off, to be honest. The support out of Meteors is definitely not the issue that they're having, because Trash Runes is getting ult constantly. Late is performing exceptionally, and both Holly and Arise are killing it on every map, on the maps that we saw them on. So I don't want to point fingers to the tank line, but I have seen a little bit more mistakes out of that. So what do the tanks have to do to get their heads back in the game? And I think that's going to come down to getting the map pick again, going to the maps that they've researched and scrimmed excessively and getting that comfortability back, because it looked like in Kings Row, Eclipse knew it just a little bit more after first point than Meteors. It might be that that issue that you have either in ladder and scrims where you sometimes only scrim the first point on hybrid and payload maps, or maybe even control, and you don't have that extra game knowledge that is the rest of the map. Where Eclipse, who's a little bit more malleable with their team comp, was able to pull out the swaps they needed and get back in the driver's seat. So we'll have to see, of course, after halftime what both teams are capable of doing. But I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing we can agree on, it's that we've seen some absolutely incredible high tier Overwatch tonight so far. And up 2-1 will be Eclipse going into halftime. We'll see you in 10.